Hey guys, so I decided to start doing a podcast. Some people were going to be doing a video, but I'm not really a camera person, so I figured to give this a shot. So recently I joined an astrology group on Facebook, and it's been really fun. I love talking to people about, their charts and stuff, and everybody asks questions and you get to answer them and give feedback, and you ask questions too, and they get to start discussions, and it's really cool. But a lot of people, when I first got on there, were asking about adoptive kids and adoptive mothers and like how that shows up in our chart. And I thought it was really interesting because I personally love the whole parents and finding them in the chart. But my family itself adopted my 3 cousins growing up. So I kind of have a first-hand experience with adoption in the chart. So Aquarius is really the sign that you see it in. My mother, she's an Aquarius sun. And the sun is where is your kids, where you create from. And I always joke that she's better at raising kids that are not her own than her own. We adopted 3 of my cousins, and we had 2 of her birth children, and they kind of got the spotlight since they had harder struggles to kind of deal with. But yeah, so Aquarius, and then I have an Aquarius Mercury, and Mercury was your sibling, so I have adoptive siblings. To me, I was closer to my cousins growing up than I was to my sister. That's changed now that I'm older, but they were sisters to me. They weren't cousins. But yeah, so Aquarius shows up in the chart. Specifically for a parent, look for the Aquarius sun. Even Aquarius suns, they could have been adopted themselves. Aquarius moon is an adoptive mother figure. Saturn tends to be the father figure, so an Aquarius Saturn can show an adoptive father figure. A lot of times too, Aquarius, it's sporadic energy, it's unexpected and unpredictable. So the people who have these Saturn parent placements, they often have a very unconventional sporadic relationship with their own birth parent as well. And so you can kind of see Aquarius apply to both of them. Like my cousins, their parents still saw them every once in a while, but it wasn't predictable, it wasn't consistent, and it wasn't really usual either. They would go over there and it'd be an atypical situation. But yeah, so you see Aquarius. You also see Uranus. I'm trying to think of my own chart where I have Uranus, and it's in the 7th house with Neptune and Venus. And I really don't see that come up through my adoptive siblings as well. But Uranus is the humanitarian planet. It tries to help heal the group, and not heal the group emotionally, but rather just give them what they need. So if you have a strong connection with Aquarius, maybe in your 5th house, your 11th house, 3rd house for siblings, 4th house for mother, 10th house for father, you can probably see someone who adopts children because those children need parenting, those children need emotions, those children need siblings, those children need something that they can provide, and so they provide it. You also see Uranus conjunct the moon, Saturn, those kind of planets. And if it's a square, there might be like a harsher relationship with the adoptive parent, but there can still be an adoptive parent in there. And then the 11th house. So the 11th house is where we think with our head and where we problem solve. Adoption is a problem-solving situation. We have kids who are displaced. We have parents who have the ability and capability to raise children. So we mix those two. On the flip side of that, the 5th house is what you create from your heart, and that rules our children, because when you create a child with someone, you have to, it comes from your heart. If you're in a bad position when you create that child, the child's going to have that reflected in their own energy. If you're happy and you create them out of love, that's going to show in the chart too. But yeah, so the 5th house is where you create from your heart, and the 11th house is where you create with the head, or what we think with the head. And so 5th house dominant people will probably be more likely to have their own birth children unless you have Aquarius or Uranus in there, while the 11th house people would be more likely to have adoptive children. And the planets in there too, like my cousins that we adopted, they have an Aquarius Saturn, a Saturn in the 11th, and another Aquarius Saturn. So each of them has some kind of authority figure, which is Saturn, in the sign of adoption. So that kind of shows up there. And then a lot of times too, my other cousin, the one that has Aquarius Saturn, has her moon in the 11th house, so she has adoptive and mother figures. And a lot of times with these people too, you know, they have adoptive figures that are not just in their family, they have them, like, that didn't just adopt them, but like community members as well. They bond really well with those kind of people, but they bond in an unconventional way. Like, they don't really tend to like authority very much because of the nature of Aquarius and Uranus in the 11th house. But they're also very geared towards helping other people and helping them solve their problems and stuff when they get older. They're going to be more likely to adopt themselves, you know, because they understand the benefits of helping society and helping humanity. They probably will get that from their adoptive parental figures. Also, if you ever pull up a chart for the moment of adoption, which is when you create a birth chart using the time that you adopted them officially, and that kind of paints the picture of what the adoption will be like. You know, you have the child's chart and you have the adoptive parents chart. And those are how they're going to act. But the adoptive chart is how the adoption is going to play out. You might look for Aquarius energy, Uranus energy, or the 11th house energy. Like when I adopted my cat, it was an Aquarius rising, which I thought was kind of interesting because we were adopting and it was fun. But yeah, so I hope everybody has a good day. If you have any questions or any feedback on how like adoption might show up in your chart, please leave some comments, and yeah, have a wonderful day.